Hi, friend. This is Brent Winfield, AdventBible.com. The news has been scary. Have you been wondering, like I have, what all the fuss is about in raising the debt ceiling? I mean, the dominant headlines in the news these last few days are all about the government shutting down because of a refusal of the Democrats and Republicans coming to an agreement. The financial experts predict that if this continues for another few weeks, it could be the beginning of a major financial catastrophe like we've never seen before. But wait a minute, hold on a minute. Didn't a little old lady 100 years before predict something like this was going to happen? Well, let's take a look at the evidence, shall we? First, let's hear what the Bible has to say. Then we'll hear what Ellen White has to say. And then lastly, we'll hear what the financial gurus have to say on this deadly, serious subject. The Bible has foretold how this scenario will end. And the merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her, for no one buys their merchandise anymore. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. Revelation 18. And every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein we were made rich, all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour she's made desolate. Revelation 18. And then James 5 says, Go to now, you rich men, weep, and howl for all the miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have reaped and heaped treasure today for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers, who have reaped down your field, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth, and have been wanton. You have nourished your hearts, as in a day of slaughter. You have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. James 5, 1-6. Friend, this great economic crisis has just started. It'll get worse. It'll get more and more serious. Okay, now let's hear from the spirit of prophecy. Here's what she says. Those who hold the reins of government are not able to solve the problem of moral corruption, poverty, pauperism, and increasing crime. She says, they're struggling in vain to place business operations on a more secure basis. Testimonies, Volume 9, page 13. The agencies of evil are combining their forces and consolidating their strengthening for the last great crisis. Great changes are soon to take place in our world, and the final movements will be rapid ones. The condition of things in the world shows that troublous times are right upon us. The daily papers are full of indications of a terrible conflict in the near future. This is from Testimonies to the Church, 9/11. Something decisive is about to take place. The present time is of overwhelming interest to all living. Rulers and statesmen who occupy positions of trust and authority, thinking men and women of all classes, have their attention fixed upon the events taking place about us. They are watching the strained, restless relations that exist among the nations. They observe the intensity that is taking possession of every earthly element, and they recognize that something great and decisive is about to take place, that the world is on the verge of a stupendous crisis. Welfare Ministry, page 134, 135. She goes on to say, we're nearing the end of a most wonderful crisis that's upon the world. If we're not wide awake and watching, it'll steal upon us as a thief. Satan is preparing to work through his human agencies in secrecy. Selected Messages, Book 3. Now, finally, friend, let's hear firsthand from the great financial mind of the world. We're going to hear from men such as Warren Buffett and from the mighty financial entity, Bloomberg. It's entitled 12 Ominous Signs of a U.S. Default on the Global Economy. Now go to adventbible.com/bad news. That's adventbible.com/bad news to read the full article on how this U.S. government shutdown could bring pain and suffering to billions of people all over the world. Okay? So go to adventbible.com/bad news now. Okay, Saint, this is the beginning of the end where the National Sunday Law will be enforced, right? Well, the financial collapse starts everything, including an even more dramatic rise in crime and moral degradations. The evangelicals will join with the papacy in calling for a moral reformation in the form of a national Sunday law. Then, the real persecution begins against Sabbath keepers. Now is no time to relax. Now is no time to watch mindless television shows and movies. This is the time to get busy warning the world of Jesus' soon coming. Oh friend, may God help us as we see the seriousness of the situation and resolve to fix our eyes upon Jesus Christ. And always remember that God loves you. He really, really does love you.